in this video we're going to be taking a look at creating a diorama. Something quite contained, quite small scale, nothing quite as grandiose as the dioramas that you would see at Warhammer World, of which I would admit is some inspiration behind what I'm making in today's video, but alas I don't quite have the space or resources to do something as big as that just yet. Never say never. But that's the great thing about making dioramas. You can use materials that are around you to make something as grandiose or as contained as you like. You're only limited by your imagination. I'm not going to be doing anything as fancy-pantsy as adding lights, although you certainly can if that's your inclination. Don't let me stop you. Diorama building is a really great way to work on environments, trying out texturing and basing, skills that you can ultimately implement with your miniatures as well and the basing of them. So with that being said, let's get into what I'm working on today. I'm going to be using these Games Workshop Hobbit strategy battle games miniatures of Bilbo and Gollum. These are Citadel fine cast. Despite how tiny these guys are, fine cast resin is a type of polyfurane resin that is used to create highly detailed miniatures. But with that, they do require a lot of care and cleanup prior to painting. Moving these to one side though to focus on the main feature of the diorama, I'm going to be using this Star Wars Galaxy Eau de Perfume box. This has a very cool book-like design to it, where it opens up, so I'm temporarily taking this apart so we can work on each of it in its own stage, ripping out the internal foam, of which I will be recycling and reworking for the final product. Describing my idea wouldn't really articulate the vision, so I've drawn a quick sketch just to get clarity in my own mind and how I'm going to approach this. So I'm going to recreate the original Hobbit book cover, and the box itself will open up like a book to reveal the Riddles in the Dark scene, arguably one of the most iconic scenes from the story.
What have I got in my pocket?
That's no fair.
I'm going to create a cave-like interior and have the miniatures faced off in front of each other. I carefully remove the miniatures out of the blister packaging. We won't be needing the bases, so I can put these to one side. And now to inspect the miniatures themselves, and as you can see there's a lot of excess plastic, stuff that we need to gently shave off, and these are on probably some of the most fragile parts of the miniatures as well. So it's best to take your time and really focus and not apply too much pressure in removing this, gently shaving it away. With that being said though, once you've cleaned up fine cast, you've got some really beautiful models. And I think these are going to really make the scene if I can paint them up well. Taking the interior foam, I remove any excess parts that I won't be needing, such as the ribbon. I then cut a cave-like pattern on the interior where the perfume bottle was held, and then start tearing and cutting pieces off to create rock-like formations on the inside. With the miniatures removed from their sprues, this allows me to test fit them and pose them, just to get an idea as to how the diorama is going to look. I don't commit to gluing them yet, blue tacking them in place because I want to paint them first. I then start work painting the background using dark and spooky cave-like colours. Once I'm happy with that, I take Screaming Skull to create the page-like colour of the exterior of the book, painting this all the way around. I then dry brush in Mechanica Standard Grey, and after this Dawnstone to build up that rock-like formation, and then switch out to some shade colours just to add a bit more depth to those pages. I remove the miniatures from their sprue holder and glue them onto the diorama. I then glue the diorama itself into the book, and I think this is really coming together. But I think what would really improve it, even though it is a cave, would be to add some moss tufts and little bits of overgrowth as well, just to make it feel more lived in. So taking some scenic tufts and adding a bit of PVA glue to the bases of them, I start randomly sticking some in place to the ground and cave walls. I also take some lichen, placing this more to the top, as if there's some roots from trees growing from above. I then start working on the book cover, taking a large sheet of paper and copiously applying PVA glue. I stick the box lid down. I then let it dry and, using my limited art skills, start drawing the front cover of the Hobbit book. I know it's not 100% accurate to the actual book cover, but I think it's close enough, and so I apply a dirty rustic wash to this, making certain points darker than others to give a really weathered and worn effect, as if it's existed for several years. I then let it dry and use Yoo-hoo glue to stick it to the box, weighting it down just to keep it in place until it's fully set. And well, let's take a look at the grand reveal.